Hey cats, it's Ed Checkered Flag Bud here. A new year is here, and it means it's time to test the mettle in some races. A decent amount of training under my belt, and the speed is starting to return. Where will I test out my pace in 2022? Let's take a gander. Thanks for tuning in, cats. It's always appreciated. If you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button and also the bell below for notifications when I roll them out for you. You don't want to miss out. Imagine that you missed out on an EDDBUD video. How would you feel? It would ruin your day. You don't want that to happen. You can also help the channel out now by joining and becoming a member. There's 3 different tiers with lots of different perks, so you can increase your communication with not only myself, but also the viewers of the channel. That's the chief part of all of this. Before I let you know what races that I'm going to take on over the next few months, what are you up to? Let me know which races you have scheduled to test your mettle down in the comments. Right, let's get to today's topic. 2022's here, and I aim to test my mettle with some races. Get out there on the race scene and see what I'm made of. Hopefully it's not balsa wood. Lots of options to consider, so let's take a look. So coming up only in a couple of weeks' time, very close by, is a real tester of a half marathon, the Blackmore Vale half. Undulating is the word on this one. It goes up and down more than a roller coaster. I don't think it's that much worse than the elevation on the Yeovil half, though I think the climbs are a little bit more distributed over the whole 13.1 mile distance. As I said, the Vale is an up and down affair. Interestingly, the grade adjusted pace for the last attempt, which was back in 2020, I think it was about 7 minutes 5 seconds per mile, and that tells you quite a lot when you see that the actual overall pace for the race was 7 minutes 13 per mile. So I actually did reasonably well there considering the elevation. On a flat course, I think I'd have been a lot closer to my potential half marathon target. It's certainly not a PB course by any means, but in training to get up to some later half marathon races in the year, I think it would be a good one. So that half marathon distance test, I can almost use it as a long run, take the camera with me and take in some of the wonderful scenery. It's a very scenic route if I remember rightly. There's no burnt out cars, wastelands or anything like that. It's just beautiful. I remember the first time I did it back in 2019, it snowed and there was some deer running through the field through the snow. It was quite beautiful. Or maybe I just imagined it due to lack of oxygen. Miles 3 to 6 are pretty much all uphill, so you've got to try and save back some energy. It's a bit like playing X-Wing on the PC. You have to distribute your power between the shields and the engines. You do get some nice downhill and flatter sections a little later in the course. I can almost certainly trim off some time from my 2020 effort. I think that was 1 hour 36:18, so I can almost definitely trim a little bit off that. So maybe we'll look for about 7 minutes a mile. We'll see how we go. That's literally coming up in a couple of weeks' time, so if you're around, come and join me. It'll be wonderful fun. I think early March time there's a 10k race not all that far away. The Weymouth Bay 10k in early March could be a good bet. It's based out of the old school looking Riviera Hotel. Really like that place, so I'm going to have to stay there one day. I think it could be really enjoyable. Maybe I could stay there the night before. That'll be cool. This is a race I took part in back in 2019. Seems like a lifetime ago. 13th place that day out of 275 runners. I was pretty pleased with that, considering that on the return leg of the 10k there was some hailstones. Yes, March and hailstones. Either way, this is a tough course at the start. There's like laps of this kind of slopey grass section, which is not fun. You've then got an 110-foot drop down towards the seafront. I think it's over about half a mile as well, so yeah, it's basically like that. After that though, it's as flat as a pancake as you run along the seafront. You're not on the beach, just on the concrete, and you can start to push things a little more and get up to perhaps your potential speed. Grip's going to be required in that first mile. It's just grass and very slippery, and you're on a slope, so you constantly have the danger of sort of falling over or slipping. Next percent totally out the window for that one. Maybe I'll try some of the Adidas models on some grass, see how it fares. Otherwise the Takumi Sen 7 might be a good bet. Or the RC Elite. But then again, after that first mile, it's all pretty much flat and concrete anyway. So it's really that first mile, what advantage can I give myself? Will it make all that much difference? Don't know. Maybe. It's then an out and back along the seafront, and the race ends at the bottom of the hill after the start point. Near to me, and a really good 10k test with the up-and-coming Yeovil Half Marathon. I'm already entered into the Yeovil Half Marathon. I think I had a place back in 2020, they've kind of just rolled them forwards. Now, it's certainly not the flattest or easiest half marathon route, probably not a PB type route, but it's my hometown, and as such, it's a given. I've got to do it. 731 foot of gain here, mainly between miles 9 and 10. It does feature a very lengthy section of my typical long run route as well, so I'll be feeling really at home. As such, I know the requirements of this quite taxing route, so I think it's a bit of an advantage. Home advantage. In 2019, I hit 1 hour 35:49, but I'll be looking for a much better performance in 2022 with that additional training that I've done. Vastly better fitness and focus as well. Know what I'm doing a little bit more now. Just a little bit. The trick here is saving some juice for some of those hill climbs later in the race. If you use up all your energy, you're going to come unstuck there. And I saw it when I did the race before. People are really struggling up that hill. The first slow climb of about 130 foot between miles 2 and 6, and then again at miles 9 to 10. It's downhill pretty much then from mile 11 onwards into the town centre to be met by the roaring crowds of fans. Well, maybe some shoppers perhaps. Well, it might not even be that actually. High Street's pretty desolate these days. I'll certainly be looking forward to the Yeovil Half Marathon in late March. Let's hope for reasonable middle of the road type of weather. There's a couple of 5k races that are reasonably nearby as well that I could enter into. The Street 5k series has a race on the 9th of Feb and the 9th of March. That's a reasonably flat 5k course, could be pretty quick, and it's close to my hometown as well. It's doable after a day's work. Perhaps. I think it's a race series actually. You can enter in October and then race each of them every month through till March. It's a closed road 5k course here. Hard to come by locally. As such, this one's a very attractive one to add into the race schedule. Just one turning direction as well, nothing to have to think about, just run as fast as you possibly can. I think you can't really ask for much more of a 5k course. If it was just very, very straight with like a double back, something like that, that would probably be the ultimate one, but this is as close as I can get. I don't think this will break the bank either. I think it's quite cheap to enter into. No medals or anything like that, but you don't really want that. You're kind of paying for the competition. I have noticed some half marathons are getting up to plus £40 now, what with people taking away sort of mementos and shirts and things like that as well. It is getting a little bit costly there. I can understand that some of these businesses have been really pushed over the last couple of years. Let's just hope it doesn't get any steeper than that. So a quick breakdown there of some of the races that I'm going to look to enter into over the next few months. Might be a few others pop up from April, but I'll probably address those a few weeks down the line. I think the Blackmore Vale one could be really useful actually as a test, just to run some faster pace miles over a greater distance. It's just ideally placed there. Always seems to come round just when I need it, that one. What races have you got planned for the first half of this year, guys? Let me know down in the comments. A quick musical interlude for you. I can't quite believe this one is as old as it is, but it is. I'm really enjoying songs from Lonely Avenue by Brian Setzer. I think this one came out back in 2009, but it surely can't be. There's a wonderful mixture here of almost like show tunes, I suppose, and some more down and gritty rockabilly stuff. There's a couple of great instrumentals on here actually, where Brian Setzer plays a jazz tune in a surf style and then a surf tune in a jazz style. Does that make sense? Lonely Avenue is my favourite track though. Golden tones there from Brian, sort of like honey, with a haze there of late night. Dead Man Incorporated is good as well, where he's kind of had this dream about, you know, gangland sort of stuff. You can almost imagine it in black and white, film noir style. Brian with his guitar case, you know, and some misty, foggy sort of New York streets. Really fantastic album, guys, from an atmospheric point of view. Go and check it out. Brian Setzer with songs from Lonely Avenue. All that's left for me to say is Dankeschön. Thank you for tuning in. It's always appreciated. Do help the channel out by picking up some merchandise from the links below. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and also give this video a thumbs up like. It really helps out with the YouTube algorithm. My name's EDDBUD and I'll be seeing you